I'm going to demonstrate how to clean a Dungeness crab. This is a 2-pound crab. It cooked in boiling salted water for about 14 minutes. So it's roughly 6 to 7 minutes per pound of crab if you're going to cook them whole like this. In the cooking process, the 2 larger claws came off the crab. But we can do an inspection here. I want to show you the back of the crab. This actually gets pulled out. This is called the apron. And this is also where you tell whether this is a male, which it is, or it's a female, which you actually can't catch. A little bit thinner imprint there with the males, a little bit wider if it was a female. But the apron actually gets pulled out and discarded. And then the larger shell, you can pull it from the back. There's a perfect place for your thumb to go in to separate the crab and begin to open it up, and that gets discarded or composted. Then you see on the inside we have something called the crab butter, which is something you want to discard. A lot of dioxins are held within that, so that's something you want to get rid of. And this is the messy part with your hands where you just begin to peel that off. At the same time, when you're pulling off the butter, you're going to pull off the gills that are on either side, get into this center cavity here. There's also the face portion of the crab which comes out. So you can do this without running water. After I cook the crab, I don't want to apply a lot of water to it. That's usually why I let it cool down at room temperature instead of plunging it into ice water to cool down. Just take your time and let that happen. And then what we want to do is actually turn on a little bit of running water, just a little bit quickly if we can, to make sure we get all that crab butter and any debris out of the cavity. And now what we have is really a pretty clean crab. And then you can break it in half or use a knife, but you want to divide it first of all. So it kind of opens up, separating it very easily. And then you have a couple portions to deal with. This here is the center portion. There's a large yield of meat inside here. And sometimes what I do is actually use a cocktail fork and begin to prong some of that meat out really slowly, carving away with my hand as I go and setting that meat aside as I go. So you can crack it even one more time if you want. I'll go ahead and take the other legs off. They can be set aside. We'll get to those in a moment. And then you can actually open this up another time and see more and more of the meat. You might even want to use your hands actually and just kind of pull and shred or shake that meat out of the crab's center cavity, getting as much of it as you can. And then that gets discarded too. There are a couple different methods you can use when you go after the claws. The crabs usually have 10 of them. I like to use actually culinary scissors, nice sturdy pair, and just split right up the middle to kind of expose it without, and trying to stay really close to the inside of the shell here so I don't damage any of the flesh, because ideally you want that nice big crab leg to come out. And again, you might reach for the fork, go inside, release it a little bit. We'll get back to that piece. And then slide that crab meat into where you're depositing your clean meat. And you can go back in here with a fork, or you can grab those scissors one more time and give that one more split. This isn't quite as careful as trying to keep the other part intact. And then just give it a combing, see what you can get out of there. All of it is precious. There's about I would say almost a 40% yield on crabs as you go through them. So you can see this is a fair amount of work to go through here. But again, the center cavity has lots. The claws, you can go either way. Another method that you might use if you prefer it is actually using the crab crackers. Some people actually put this on a cutting board and crack it with a knife. It's another option that you have. These, you just want to hear that crack a little bit so you begin to work with your hands once it's done. And separating where there may be no flesh on the inside there, pulling that aside. And then again, there's the leg coming out of it. So just repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and you keep going after the crab using either the culinary scissors, crackers, and a small prong fork to pull the meat out as you go, and you just continue. And again, as I say in the recipe, this is nice to just do at the table with a group of friends. Take your time, have fun with it, eat it cold, a little bit of mayonnaise or dipping butter, and you should have a great time. So enjoy.